But we know there's a mitzvah mid'oraisa to read Parsha Zachar. It's one of the few mitzvah mid'oraisas that we have that entails by Kriyas HaTorah. Most of them are the Rabbanan. Moshe was Misakin to blame the future generations from Misakin by Kriyas HaTorah. But Parsha Zachar is a din d'oraisa that the Gemara says. Gemara says that it's the question. There's a question if it's d'oraisa to have it with a minyan, or it's only d'oraisa. If it's only d'oraisa to read it yourself.
Where do you think the language you have to read it?
So the Rosh says like this. The Rosh in Bracha says, the Gemara says that what was it? Wales Meshachar is Eved. Rabbi Eliezer went to the Beis HaKnesses. Rabbi Eliezer went to the Beis HaKnesses, and he didn't have a minyan. So he wanted to have a minyan. So he freed his slave, and once he frees the slave was able to be part of the minyan. So the Gemara has no question how you're allowed to do it. So you're not allowed to free your slave. So the Gemara says, mitzvah de Rabbim Scheiner. For a mitzvah of the Rabbim, you're allowed to free your slave. So which mitzvah of the Rabbim are you talking about? So Rashi says it means Kedusha. Ohitzi Rabbim with Kedusha. It's Kadashta. But the Rosh says, even if it's a D'Rabbanan, even if it's a mitzvah D'Rabbanan, it says L'shmoya Kedusha Baruch Hu, we don't find Iker Min HaTorah. It says let's call it D'Rabbanan. Still, you're allowed to free your slave to do a mitzvah D'Rabbanan because it's a mitzvah D'Rabban. So the Rosh adds on like this: the loy mistaveli, it's not mistaver that we're talking by a case where you need 10 d'oraisa. Could go in likros Parsha Zachar shehu min HaTorah. That's what the Rosh says. In other words, maybe he came to shul on Shabbos, or to hear Parsha Zachar, maybe he did it during the week. We'll see if it has to be on Shabbos. But whatever it was, he wanted to hear Parsha Zachar, so he only had 9 people, so he freed a slave, and now you have 10, and you have a minyan Parsha Zachar, and that's d'oraisa.
Can you free a slave on Shabbos?
Yeah. How do you free him on Shabbos?
You can?
You have to give him a star. You have to write it. Yeah, I don't know. A question here. So maybe he's talking that he freed a slave in order to have, maybe during the week. It's Parsha Zachar, and he freed a slave, and now he's going to be Yotza the mitzvah d'oraisa Parsha Zachar. So that's not Mustafa talking about that case. It's talking about a regular minyan. So you see from here that he can lay Parsha Zachar without a minyan. What do you need a minyan for? If there's a mitzvah to read it, so I'll read it from the Torah. What do I need a minyan for?
Where's the mitzvah to read it? Zachar, where's the say to read it?
It's kiyu b'peh. To say it b'peh, so that means you have to read it.
Zachar is
Yeah. So we see, it sounds like from the Rosh that there's a mitzvah min HaTorah to hear it with a tzibur. Others argue, even Moshe himself, and say it's lav dafka, it's just the main mitzvah is d'oraisa, the minyan part is not d'oraisa. But nonetheless, there's a mitzvah to read Parshas Zachar. Scheiner discusses if the mitzvah is to read it dafka in the Torah, or you can read it outside. In other words, let's say a person can't come to shul, whatever the reason is, he can't come to shul.
Should women come too?
Let's say a person can't come to shul.
Women can come too?
I'll get to the woman. Let's say a person can't come to shul, so then he can learn it from a chumash. He can't do the mitzvah according to these poskim, but he could do it. Other Scheiner hold that you just have to read it. It doesn't say you have to read it from a Sefer Torah and read it.
So you should have a minyan at home?
Well, if you don't need to read it from a Sefer Torah, you don't need a minyan. Yeah. The best way to do it is to go to shul and have a minyan.
Like a Dedi Evid, you can do that?
If you can't do the other way.
Yeah.
But you have a meeting, if you can't do the other way, it's not possible to go to shul. Now there are some that will be Yotza, those that can't go to shul, but Yotza can be Yotza on Purim morning when they lay in Vayavai Amalek. So that's the other parsha of Amalek. Now it doesn't have the mitzvah of Tzimcha Zeich Amalek in there, so that's a question of the Yotza, but but that's the Morgan. Rabbi says it can be Yotze with Vayavi Amalek. So a woman that want to be Yotze the mitzvah of Parsha Zachar, and they can't come to Shul on Shabbos, so they can come when they hear the Megillah. If they go to Shul, they could hear Vayavi Amalek, and they could be Yotze with that. The question whether women have to hear and have to be Yotze is a question what the mitzvah is. Is the mitzvah the Chinuch says it's part of the mitzvah of going to war. You have to work yourself up to a degree of hatred in order to go to war. You can just go to war and kill someone. It doesn't work like that. You have to have a sinner. You have to have a hatred. And that's part of the mitzvah. Part of the mitzvah is to be Soinei Amalek. And then, when you hear it, then you go to one battle. So it's part of the battle. Derech are meant to go to battle. It's not derech women to go to battle. So therefore, they're parted from the mitzvah. The minchas what?
They just have to read the newspaper.
Yeah.
Oh, so they are potter. They are potter. Very good. They are potter? I thought they had.
So that's what the Chinuch holds. Others holds that the woman achayev. Because it's not telling that. First of all, a woman did go out to help. They helped. They brought food to the front, and then they also. Maybe it's not totally separate. There's two separate mitzvahs. There's the remembering, and then there's the thing. Now, it's not called a mitzvah says Heshaz Grama. It's not called mitzvah says Heshaz Grama because you don't have to do it now. Chazal said to do it now before Purim. That's the time of Mechias Amalek. They killed Haman, and they killed Amalek, and then they built the second Beis Hamikdash. It's a time, but that's why Chazal Masakim to do it now. But you could do it any time during the year. Once a year, once every 3 years. The question is how long. Once a year you have a mitzvah to do it, so it could be any time. That's not called Zman Grama, because it can happen any time. So others argue the woman achayev. Well, Maisa, it's hard to say woman achayev. In the halacha, it's not brought down. The woman achayev. In the old days, the woman never went to shul. Someone just told me that Chabusha said that someone asked him, a woman have to go. He says, in Morocco they didn't have an Ezus Noshim even. How does a woman go to shul? So I don't know. It's hard to say the chayyuv, but some places a woman should go. The women go and they hear Parsha Zachar.
So how do we hold? Because I always thought women had to hear it. There's no. I know. I'm just.
They all run.
Ask your Baba if she ever went to shul to hear Parsha Zachar. She'll tell you no. So it's not. But upon him, it was definitely a machlokes. Scheiner. It's definitely machlokes b'Scheiner whether there's a chiyuv for women to hear, but I also believe throughout the generations the majority of Klais or Machmer that women should go. So what if they could go, they should go. If they can't get out, they can't get out.
Should they read the Chumash just the Diavad or no?
Yeah, they could do that. They could read the Chumash. Yeah, read it. Oh. Now, just a few points about the Kriya, so we should understand it. First of all, there's a chiluk in the mitzvah. Now, this the Shloach Kodesh already says, but it's brought down in many Achronim that there's a difference between the mitzvah of Kriyas HaTorah and Kriyas Parsha Zachar. For example, Kriyas HaTorah is a chiyuv on the tzibur. It's a chiyuv on the tzibur. It's not a chiyuv al kol yachid v'yachid. If someone's an oinus and he misses Kriyas HaTorah, so there's a whole shaila. Does he have to run and get a minyan to hear Kriyas HaTorah? He had to step out. And he comes back. He missed part of the parsha. Does he have to go to the next minyan, go find the next minyan and hear Kriyas HaTorah? So there are those that say should, because a person is supposed to finish the whole Torah. There's an inyan for him to have the whole Torah, to learn it through once. But that's like a side point. But it's a chiyuv, a kriya of the tzibur. It's a chiyuv on the tzibur. It's not a chiyuv on the yachid. A person shouldn't be part of the tzibur. Should be part of the tzibur. But if there's one individual, he doesn't necessarily have that chiyuv. There is an inyan that a person should read through the Parshas HaTorah. He should go through the Chumash. He should go through it once a year. So therefore, you should hear it. Everybody should try to hear it. There's such an inyan. But as far as the chiyuv is a chiyuv tzibur, that's why the Gemara discusses. There's not halacha l'maisa, it's halacha shaloi l'maisa. Whether a person could do his own thing during Kriyas HaTorah. Could he learn? Could he, he definitely can't talk to his chaver. It's disturbing. That's an issue. But because he allowed to be mahada, it says Rabsheshis mahada ape v'goras. Rabsheshis turned his face, turned around and learned. So the Gemara comes out. Maybe only Adam Choshev could do it. Nobody else is allowed to do it. If it's a pegi in the covered Torah, if the Torah is being read and you're doing something else. Okay, these are side things why I shouldn't do it. But mitzad the mitzvah's kriya, it could be as long as you have 10 people listening, that's enough. You don't need that. I can do my thing. I want to finish learning something. So that's the chiyuv. But the chiyuv of Pasha Zachar is a chiyuv al kol yochad v'yochad. On each individual, he has a chiyuv. He has a chiyuv to go ahead and hear that kriya, right? So if someone misses it, so he personally didn't have the kriya. It's a chiyuv on him personally. It's not just a chiyuv on the whole crowd. So that's why there's another shiloh. If let's say do I have to make so let's do it. Let's say someone's at home. Does he have to make a minyan in his house? Does he have to get a minyan in his house? The same idea. He's at home. So he can't hear so regular parsha of the week. Okay, so he didn't hear it with a minyan. So he'll do it himself. But here, the chiyuv on each person, so he has to maybe get together a minyan. Okay, so that's just to give the a little flavor for it. We know when you learn the Pasha Zachar, right? You hear the Bakar goes over Zecher Amalek, right? There's a few ways to hear it. B'chlal, we find that we're very makbid that the Havara should be done properly. It shouldn't be pronounced wrong. Maybe even though in other Kriyas HaTorah certain things are ma'akiv, as long as the general idea was set over right, so it could be certain pronunciations are not going to be ma'akiv. But again, since there's a chiyuv kriya over here in this parsha, there's a chiyuv deraisa, so we're very makbid to read it properly. So in the Sefer Ma'aser Rav of the Goin, so it brings down that when he read Pasha Zachar, he read Zecher Amalek instead of Timcha Zecher Amalek instead of Timcha Zecher Amalek. The way it's printed in the Chumash is Zecher Amalek. But the Goin Reb Chaim Voloshin, it was a Talmud of the Goin. So he said he heard that he wrote Zecher. He didn't read a Zecher. He wrote a Zecher. He read a Zecher, like we have it. He says, "Ulai b'skenusai chazabay." Maybe it was chayzer. He used to hold it was Zecher. Maybe he holds it was Zecher.
There's no difference in meaning, right? Or is it?
There is a difference if it's in the diktuk if it's Zecher Amalek, right? Difference is Zecher. I'm not sure.
It's a noun, both cases.
Both cases are noun. The Zecher Amalek. The remembrance. Yeah, I'm not sure. What would be the chiluk in the meaning? Yeah, I'm not sure. That was a mistake that they killed out all the Scharm of Amalek. They had Zachar. So we read both. We say it over. We read both. Timcha Zecher Amalek, Timcha Zecher Amalek. We read it both. So there's two ways of doing both, right? If you ever went to different minyanim, there's two ways of doing both. One way to do both is just to read those words over again. But the other way of doing it, and a lot of the yeshivas they read the whole pasuk twice. They don't stop in the middle of the pasuk and read that phrase twice. They read the whole pasuk twice. There's two ways to read it. obviously the mile of reading the whole pasuk twice is that the whole pasuk makes sense. You're not just reading a few words twice. You're reading the whole pasuk twice. But he brings down here from Amalei Steinman that he says that maybe is a svara not to finish the pasuk. Why? Because if you finish the pasuk, you read Timcha Zecher Amalek, and then you go back and you and you finish the whole pasuk, and then you go back. Is it ma'akev or is it not ma'akev? Is this just l'chatchila to get to zecher and the zecher, or is this ma'akev mikra adin? So it's mistavida, it's not ma'akev. It's not ma'akev, like you're saying, maybe it doesn't have a different meaning. It's mistavida, it's not ma'akev. It's just a question of l'chatchila. So we all know the famous aside, right? If someone takes a esrig that's, let's say, not so muhudir, and he picks it up and he's yotze with it, right? Then he puts it down and he takes it, wants to take another esrig that's more muhudir and be yotze, it's too late. You already did your mitzvah. You're going to do the mitzvah again? You did the mitzvah. When you do the mitzvah, you have to do it the proper way. But once you finish the mitzvah, you go back and do it over. You can't do it over. You're already yotze your mitzvah. There's no do-overs. If you weren't yotze the first time, if you have a suffix, if the esrog is possible, so then you do it again. But if it's for sure kosher, it's only a question of being muhudah, so there's no point in doing it again, because you're already yotze your mitzvah. So same thing over here. If I finish reading the pasuk, finished. We're yotze the mitzvah. Once I'm yotze the mitzvah, so now I'm going to go back and read it the other way just in case. Well, just in case. If I was yotze already, it's too late. If it's a question if I'm yotze, so it makes sense to read it again. But if I wasn't, if I was very yotze,
the just in case could be a little bit of a suffix, or can we say?
If it's just a lechatchila, he's saying, but I was very yotze, so there's no point in so maybe it's better not to finish the pasuk. He said, don't finish the pasuk, and this way I wasn't yotze my mitzvah yet. Then if I could go back and I can make it better, and then I finish the pasuk, and then I'm yotze.
You're not sure if you yotze the first way.
If it's a question, if you're not sure, then for sure you can go back.
That's why we do it.
No, but he's saying it's not mustava that you're not yotze for sure. You're not yotze. It's a question of lechatchila to read it the proper way, but it has the same meaning. You're yotze.
Which one are you supposed to read first, zecher or zecher?
You read zecher first.
Zecher.
Yeah. It's the more cool way. Now, similar to this, we have in the Kriyas Megillah itself. Right, you have Megillah, a certain psukim that we read over again, right? Certain psukim we lane outside. The Tzibah says it outside. Mordechai, Yehudi, right? Everybody reads it together out loud, and then you go ahead and the Shliach Tzibah reads it again, right? Why does it? If I read it, if I have a kosher Megillah and I'm reading from it, very good. I'm reading from a kosher Megillah. But if I'm just reading it outside, right, or from a chumash, which is not a kosher Megillah. So why is it good? Because the halacha is you don't have to read the whole Megillah inside. I can read as Rabbi Megillah is read inside, and some is written al peh. I'm yotze also, right? So if the Balkari read most of it, and I read a pasuk myself by heart, and then he reads the rest, I'm yotze. It's not like Kriyas HaTorah where everything is written is read inside. Like Rabbi Megillah is read inside. So then I'm yotze even if I read part of it outside. That's the halacha. So, but okay, nonetheless, the Balkari goes back and he reads it again. Just a minute. But what are you doing? Get to the last pasuk. The last pasuk, right? Everybody reads it out loud, right? And then it's finished. You finished the Kriyas Megillah. Now the Balkari is going to read it again. So the Balkari reads it again. Is there any milah that the Balkari read it again? L'chayra, I was very yotze. As soon as he finished the Megillah, as soon as I finished reading by heart the last pasuk, I was already yotze the Megillah. Now that the Balkari reads it again,
no, he's not yotze.
So he's not yotze. He reads it again, but it doesn't help the lechatchila. Lechatchila, you're supposed to read the whole Megillah inside. We take from the Megillah. You're supposed to read it lechatchila inside. Is there any mile in that? If I already read it out by heart and I was already yotze. Are you going to be yotze again? You want to be yotze Megillah, you can't be yotze again. If you're yotze b'diavad in Megillah, there's no way to read it again to be yotze l'chatchila. Right? Some people don't read the last pasuk by heart for that reason, because they want to be yotze from kosher Megillah. So you go back. So it's the same concept. Once I finish it, you can't go back and do it l'chatchila.
You shouldn't read the other ones out loud either.
The other ones, you didn't finish the Kriyas Megillah yet.
But it's still part of the part of the Megillah.
Yeah, but if I don't finish,
want to read it.
yeah, but if I don't finish, I'm not Yotze. So I need the Balkoy to finish.
So it's part of your finish.
Yeah, so you can go back and do it again. It's not as bad. You weren't Yotze yet. You go back.
What's the purpose of reading most of yourself?
It's a person. You read it out loud. It's yeah.
Because you know those 10 names of Haman.
10 names of Haman.
The people do it in one breath unless you really experience it.
That's hard to do in one breath unless you're waiting for the tzibur. You're waiting it loud. And also from a kosher Megillah, you know, it has to match up.
You don't have to do it in one breath if you do it yourself.
Yeah. So he says that maybe Ulai. He says that Ulai that we have in mind that we don't want to be Yotze the mitzvah with our kriya. We want to be Yotze. We're just reading it. I have no to hefsek. You have in mind I'm not being Yotze with my kriya. I'm going to be Yotze when I hear the Balkoya. And therefore, it's not so bad. So I'm just saying it. Maybe it's not a hefsek. I don't know if it's called a hefsek. And then I'm Yotze with the Balkoya. So here also, you could say that you have in mind that you're only being Yotze if this is the right way to read it. If it's the wrong way to read it, you want to be Yotze with the next one. So you can read the whole pasuk maybe and then go back. Maybe. That's something to think about. Different places have different ways of doing it, but, you know. Okay. Haman, so he's supposed to read in one breath, Taka. So the Rogatchover says the reason why the whole tzibur reads it out loud is because even though Shemei Ka'ina, you can be moitzi the person, the kriya, but you can't be moitzi him the one breath. So Shailah and Shemei Ka'ina, if all the side halachas go along with it. So the question is, you might see him the kriya, but it was as if I read it in one breath. So therefore, you read it yourself in one breath, and then you get it. Okay, I don't think that's Pashab Shaf, but that's the Rogat Shaf. Oh. But Akopanim, the purpose of the kriya of Pasha Zach is to be Moisef Sinner, like if you when you read in Haftarah, you see the problem was that Vayachmol Shol, the Shol have too much Rachmanis. To have Rachmanis when the Torah says not to have Rachmanis is wrong. You have too much Rachmanis. And so when Shmuel went ahead and he chopped off his head, he gave him he said a line there. What was the line he said? That go away at the end. Yeah, so he gave him a zog, you know, about to kill him. He gave him he zogged him in, as you say. So to be moisef to sinner, because you have to do what sinner says when a Chavetz Chaim is to hear the Parsha Zachar, he would become full of hatred to Amalekim. So that's the part of the mitzvah. It's not just to hear it. The mitzvah is to hear it for a reason. You're supposed to hear it. You're supposed to be moisef sinner. There's a place for hatred. The Misane Hashem, David HaMelech says, I hate Tachos Sinas Nesim. Misane Hashem Esther. I hate the people that hate Hashem. People that are Sinei Hashem. There's a mitzvah to hate. We have to, in order to, we mentioned this many times, in order to get rid of Ra, it has to bother you. If it doesn't bother you, you don't get rid of it. Like something, something that you want to change, you want to get rid of, you have to have a sinner to it. If you don't have a sinner to it, you're not going to destroy it. More like we have to destroy it totally, get rid of it. The person has to have a sinner to it. We had a dogma 70 years ago to what Amalek is. We had a dogma to what Amalek is. We have to have a sinner to the evil that goes on, a hatred, and a healthy one. A person shouldn't wear. Talking about on Shabbos, what you're allowed to read, not allowed to read. I don't know. Sometimes I see in the Beis Akisa here they have the Israeli news. It's a depressing piece of paper. I don't know if you're allowed to read it on Shabbos. But it does. But what? It gets worked up. Yeah. That's not healthy. But there's a healthy sinner. There's a healthy sinner to understand what bad is, and that we have a mitzvah to get rid of what's in our ability to destroy Amalek. But the question whether it applies today, if you see Amalek in the street, whether you're going to kill him.
What does the Biarka mean?
What?
That's
just something in Averi. We have a mitzvah to kill him. Yeah.
So you have to have sin there too?
I don't know. That's for a yid. That's for a yid.
Yeah.
A yid who did Averi. I don't know. But for a kapanim Amaleki, for a sinner, for the ra, for the evil that's done, a person has to have sinner for it. Has to bother him. If it doesn't bother him, how's he going to fix it? How's he going to correct it? It doesn't work. If you have an ava to someone, a family member, and someone wrongs him, so you have a sinner to that person. If you don't have a sinner to the person that wrongs a family member, then you don't have an ava to the family member. It goes hand in hand. A person, as the Chavez said, a person that has Avos Hashem, and someone is doing ra, bad, and is going connected it, so that's then you automatically have a sinner. If you don't, it's impossible. It can't be you have an Avos to someone, and someone harms that person, it doesn't bother you. You don't have Avos to that person.
I always hate the sin, but love the sinner.
That's by Yid. That's by Yid. It's love the sinner because you can be machzor and b'tshuva, you can bring him back, and most of the time it's done from chsaron and of knowledge, and not from a bad part. There are sometimes that it comes from there is ra in the world. Sometimes it comes from that, but usually it's just from you never learned. Turn around. Sometimes the biggest haters of Klal Yisrael, the Yidden, could turn around. Because Gate to Mom 11, that they could be turned around. People that don't care can't be turned around. Sometimes you find that. But upon them, the concept that the person should bother a person. Something bad is done, it should bother a person. Just like it bothers a person when you see someone stole $100,000 from someone, it bothers you. It should bother you if he does Averis So that's what the person has to have when he's reading the thing. As part of the mitzvah is to have sinner to Amalek to be able to do the mitzvah. Okay. Let's move on to Purim. So first we have the first thing we have is the Machzah Shekel. Machzah Shekel this year comes out before Purim. We do it. So the question: what do you do to actually the Machzah Shekel? Do it Purim before Mincha. The minhag is, it says here that it says you give Gimel, you give Machzah Shekel over here, and Achshav Noigim you give a kind of Mincha. You give it before Mincha, Purim night. But Lamaisa, the minhag is that when Tainus Esther comes out on Thursday, and Purim comes out on Sunday, you give on Tainus Esther. You give on Tainus Esther, it's the minhag to give the Machzah Shekel. The Bialoch has a whole shaila, how do you give a Machzah Shekel? So you give from the regular coin, Canadian coin, you give a half a dollar of a Canadian coin. That's there are some that are makbid to give a half of a silver coin, the old silver coins, Machzah Shekel from that. But the question is, not everybody has it, right? So what happens? So the Gabbai puts it out. And you pay the Gabbai. So you put the money in the pushka, and he's marking you the coins, and then you give him the coins. He's more on it. The Bialocha doesn't like this so much because what happens is that the Gabbai really has no right to give you money from tzedakah, to sell you the coins of tzedakah, especially since you're probably not paying the value of the coins itself. You're giving whatever you give. You're giving 3/4, and he's giving you the real deal. So maybe he has no right. He's only giving it to because he knows he's going to give it back and put it in the pushka. So is that considered that we Yoytze Machzor Shekel? So he's more on that, but I'll put him. The minig is taka to do it. The chatchila way to do it is to pay the amount that it's really worth. You pay the amount that it's worth, and when you buy it and you do Machzor Shekel, you don't have to do it for all your kids and everything. At least do one. Pay for one the amount that it's worth and redeem it and put it in. But make a din yoytze with any coin. You don't really need the silver coins. You can just put in 3/4 into the thing, and the yoytze did Machzor Shekel.
But you put the money in first, then you lift the coins up.
They lift the coins up, you coin it, and you put it back in. More on that. That's what we do. This is done in all the shuls. Everywhere it's done like that. That you put the coins in, you pick it up. That's the Machzor Shekel. And some people give again Purim morning to be Yoytze the Shita, so you're supposed to give Machzor Shekel Purim morning. They give again, but the minhag oil was just to do it on Tiny Sester.
How much would be what's the worth of the shekel?
50 cents. Oh, the real silver. Oh, if you want to use the real silver, it's worth a lot more. Yeah.
I think it's
$21 an ounce.
Yeah. So how many ounces is it?
So Canadian silver dollar is $17, $18 for one. So I'm assuming the silver half
So it's
about half of that.
Okay, $9. You give it anyways, probably.
Can you give Matanis Levyonim? You can't mix up the two Matanis Levyonim.
No, two separate things. We'll get to Matanis Levyonim. Okay. Purim. So the first thing we have Purim is Kriyas Megillah at night. There's 2 Kriyas Megillas, one at night, one in the day. The Iker Chiyuv Megillah is in the day. The day is the Iker Mitzvah Kriyas Megillah. At night is also Drabanan. We lay in the night also. The day also is Drabanan. It's going to be Kabbalah. It's going to be Seifim. We lay in the day. Now, the eating before, so it's not such an issue this year because it's Motzei Shabbos. So you haven't been fasting the whole day. So it's not such an issue about a person shouldn't eat before Kriyas Megillah. It's one of the mitzvahs which machma not to eat anything. A person needs to. They could eat less than a kabeya. They can eat less than that of food, or they could drink as much as they need if it's necessary to before the Megillah, if they need it. Like before the Shofar, same concept. But machma not to eat anything. A person doesn't have to just say Chal Shuddis. It's not so necessary. But if someone needs to, then they could take a less than a share and have before the Megillah. Now, when you lay in the Megillah, so the halakha is like this: Kriyas HaMegillah, we do it b'tzibur. We do it b'tzibur because of Pasumei Nisa. Bizmana we do it b'tzibur. The Yoytze shaloi b'tzibur bizmana. So if a person doesn't have a minyan, since we're learning in the right time, so you could be Yoytze even without a minyan. But it's supposed to be done with a minyan. Now the halacha is, interesting halacha, people don't know this, but that a place where you don't have a minyan, so if one person knows how to lane and the others don't know how to lane, if you have a minyan, one person lanes for the tzibur, that we know. Not everybody doesn't lane their own Megillah. One person lanes for the old tzibur. But let's say you only have 9 people. So, Meikar Adin, each person should lane themselves. It's better that each person lanes themselves than one person lanes for all 9. Once you don't have a minyan, if they don't know how to lane, so then one obviously can be mitzi the others. That's what we do by the women. Right? One person is mitzi even if you don't have a minyan. But if you don't know how to lane, if they know how to lane, it's better for them to lane themselves. It's halacha mokum shein minyan. If one person knows v'achei min yodim echad parzes kulam yodim kol echad kar le'atzma, each person lanes by himself, because ein ha'yachad in Mishmur says moitzi chaveroi elo ba'asara, because Kriyas Megillah is like tefillah where you need 10 people. So you can't be Yoytze himself. You can't be Yoytze with someone else. So the Mishmur Pricharish says it's only l'chatchila, but the Yavad you can be Moitzi him. But it's a b'diavad. So if you have a minyan, then chatchila one person can be mitzi everyone else. So besides the din that everybody should hear from go to a minyan because you're supposed to hear it by Pasuma and Nisa, there's also a b'diavad to hear from someone else if it's not a minyan. You know, b'diavad, especially if the person doesn't know how to lane, then one person can lane for him. As a meiser, the guy we know went to Golis for like 7 years. He was in Golis traveling. He made a self-imposed Golis. He traveled around. So it came that one tiny sister, there was no wagons, he couldn't get to a town. So he was traveling, and he couldn't get there. He hired himself, he paid someone that was traveling with pots. You know, he sat on the pots and he was going to travel to town, and something happened, the thing turned over, and the wagon driver blamed it on him and started beating him, so he ran, and he ended up walking to town himself. So he got there late, if everybody already heard Kriyas Megillah, it was one of these small towns, and he wanted to get together a minyan. He couldn't get together a minyan. Nobody was interested. So he paid each person 2 zehuvim. And so he says he gathered a minyan. He wanted to lane with a minyan. They're supposed to have a minyan. It's a mitzvah to do it, but Pasuma Nisa. So he hired a minyan. He paid each person 2 zehuvim. He gathered a minyan, and then what happened was, as he started laning, everybody laughed and ran out. You know, good joke. We got our money. We're out. Purim spiel. So the guy ended up laning himself without a minyan. Every time he said over the story, he would cry that he wasn't zoicha to lane Megillah at night with a minyan. Just to give you, he was in Golis, he was traveling. Is this? It's, you know, still the importance. Huh?
You should have paid after the job.
You should have paid after.
You never paid before. That's what he said.
Yeah. So there's a shaila, let's say by women, if there's a milah of a tzibur by woman, 10 women make a tzibur. Normally we say 10 women don't make a tzibur, right? So you don't do dramish kedusha, you can't lay in daven, you can't make kedusha with 10 women. They don't make a minyan. But for Kriyas Megillah, the purpose of a minyan, according to Rabbi Chadash, it sounds like it's like a tefillah, but the pashtus is just for Pasuma Nisa, so people should hear. So therefore, it could be 10 women would be a minyan that you claim, what's the nafkamina? You make a bracha, right? You make a bracha asher heini, right? At the end of we make 2 brachas. We make a bracha in the beginning of the Kriyas Megillah, right? Megillah, and then at the end of the Megillah, you make another bracha. Now, the bracha at the end, Haravas Rivenu, right? We say that. So that we only say B'tzibur. We only when a person lays privately, they don't make the bracha at the end. You only make that bracha when you lay in B'tzibur. So the question is, if you have 10 women, do you make that? Do you say the bracha at the end?
The women lane.
Do they do it? Do they do it here? They do it. What?
Can the woman, one of them, lane for the other woman?
We'll get to that. But as far as you have someone laning for them, so could you make the bracha at the end? You only do it when you have a tzibur. If you don't have a tzibur, then you don't do it. Why is that? Because the Gemara says the bracha at the end is totally in a minhag. Some places had a minhag to make the bracha at the end. Some places didn't have a minhag to make a bracha at the end. So our minhags do it only when they have a tzibur. So there's a shaila, if you have a woman, whether they make that bracha at the end. If you have a tzibur of woman, they make the bracha. If you don't have a tzibur of woman, then you don't make the bracha at the end. I'm not sure what they do, taka, if you have 10 women. But that's a shaila. Could be, since that's considered a tzibur for Kriyas Megillah, because the whole thing is Pasuma Nisa, so then you could do it. That's a shaila. As far as who should lay in the Megillah, so it's interesting that the chiyuv of woman in Mikra Megillah, right, is they're also chayiv in Kriyas Megillah. They're also chayiv. So it says like this, that it says that the Kobe Yoit says, so the Mechaber says like this, V'yeshem sh'hanoshim ein moitzi says hanoshim. V'yeshem, that woman cannot be moitzi men. Why not? So why not? They're also chayiv in kriyas megillah. They're chayiv, they should be able to moitzi men. So it means down here because they cover that tzibur. Cover that tzibur, women cannot be moitzi men. So even if it's not a tzibur, even if it's just two people, the woman leaning for the man, she's also about moitzi him, shemloi plug. That's one reason. Another reason is the Bahag's reason. The Bahag holds that women are not chayiv in kriyas megillah, women are chayiv in shmiyas to hear the megillah. That's why when men learn the megillah, you make a bracha al mikra megillah. When women learn the megillah, they make a l'shmoya. Shal l'shmoya megillah, shmoya mikra megillah, but they make a bracha l'shmoya to hear. So the chiyuv of shmiya can't be yotzei the chiyuv of kriya. The chiyuv of kriya can be yotzei the chiyuv of shmiya, because it's included. But the chiyuv of shmiya, of hearing, you can't be moitzi someone who's chayiv in the kriya and reading it. So therefore, a woman cannot be moitzi a man, according to the Bahag and the.
About being moitzi other women.
No, but I once was at a Megillah reading where they were all women.
Oh, so now if you have all women,
They were all,
if you have only have women,
and there was one. There was a Baal Kriya, so he was reading it. And I was there as well. Don't ask why, but I was there. And I remember, I'm pretty sure he asked me to say the brachos. Was it possible he asked me to say the brachos at the beginning and not at the end? Yeah.
yes, you don't make the brachos because he did it already.
Okay,
Yeah.
so he did it already, and I.
Okay,
I
let's address that. So now the halacha is that really the Baal Korah, just like he's moited in Megillah, can be moited in brachos also. He moited in brachos also. But l'chatchila, we make the brachas that one that wasn't yet yotzei in Megillah, he's the one that makes the brachas. Someone wasn't yotzei yet, he makes the brachas. So, like any mitzvah, so you're supposed to do yourself. You're not supposed to be yotzei from the next person. Okay, the Megillah, you can't be yotzei yourself, you don't align it. But the brachas, you should make yourself, you should hear yourself, and therefore someone that didn't hear the Megillah should make the bracha. Now it's better that a man should make it, because a man makes al mikra Megillah,
Right.
and a woman makes l'shmoya. So therefore, if there's a man around, we have the man make the brachas.
But I think I made the brachas just at the beginning, not at the end. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it could be we don't do it for kriyas nashim. It's a shayla by kriyas nashim. So I'm saying you only have 10 people.
Yeah.
The question is that's called a
There were a lot. There were more.
Can the Baal Korah for the women? Can he say the shmoya mikra megillah?
Yeah, he could. If he already is yotzei and he's just doing it for them and they don't want to make the bracha, he can make the bracha l'shmoya for them.
Even though it's not his bracha.
Yeah.
Isn't another reason a woman can't be moitzi man
Not koilisha. It's not koilisha. It's zila bar milsa. We'll get to it in a minute. So yeah, it's zila, but it's not koilisha. He talks, it's not koilisha.
But she's singing.
Not singing. So the question is, woman being moitzi woman. So a woman could be moitzi woman.
Can women indenture?
Yeah, a woman could be moitzi woman, but it's brought down here in the Karman Asana brings down from Tosfos that a woman shouldn't be moitzi a tzibur of woman. It's also zila bar milsa. It's not proper that if you have a tzibur of woman, that the one isha shouldn't be moitzi them.
Why?
It's not lechatchila. It's a zila bar milsa. It's something that's done by a man. If there's nobody around, then she has to do it. If there's nobody around, then she's the only one who knows how to lane, she has to do it. It's a mitzvah. But if there's no one else, if there's someone else around, we should have a man do it. Wait. So let's cover a few things here. Okay, so we'll run to, it's just a little late here, we'll run to the mitzvah. So we have two other mitzvahs. So we have brachas. We have the 3 brachas we make in the beginning of the Megillah. Very interesting shaila here. Very interesting shaila. So we make the Baal Korah makes 3 brachas, right? So he makes a mikra Megillah, he makes a Shas Nisim, and he makes a Shechianu. So we do it at night. The Mechaber says you make a night, not the day. You don't make a Shechianu. The Ashkenazim make a bracha Shechianu in the day. Also, we make a Shechianu in the day also. And they announce that you should have in mind for the other mitzvahs hayom, for Shachmanis. The question what times the Jonim gets in a moment of Shachmanis and the Sudas Purim. But there's interesting Shiloh. We know that let's say on Hanukkah, right? You also make a Shechianu on Shas Nisim. Now the Meiri says, let's say a guy doesn't have a menorah, he's not lighting, there's nothing, he's just walking around the street. It's Hanukkah. Every Yom Tov, you make a Shechianu for the Yom Tov itself. So Meiri and the Shultas, they both say that on Hanukkah also, if a person's in the street doesn't have menorah or anything, he can make a bracha Shas Nisim, he can make a bracha, a Shechianu for sure he can make, because it's you're making it on the Yom, on the day. So what happened to Purim? Is there a Shechianu on the day? What's in the Geya? Let's say there was no Kriyas Megillah at night or whatever. You didn't make a Shechianu. And now, in the daytime also, if they didn't make a Shechianu, so how we can make a Shechianu? The question is, could he stamazai make a Shechianu? So let's say a Svardim, I know it's a Svardim do. The Mechaber holds you don't make a Shechianu in the Kriyas Megillah in the day. The reason why you don't make a Shechianu in the Kriyas Megillah in the day because you already made at night. You already made at night. So you already made at night. So that's because you already got the Shechianu for the day. But if they didn't make at night, so then for sure you have to make a Shechianu for the Etzem Yom, even though you already heard the Megillah once. But you have to make a Shechianu for the Etzem day. So the Shechianu is really going on three things. It's going on the Mikra Megillah, it's going on the day, the Yom Tov has a Shechianu, and it's also going on the Mitzvahs Hayayim of B'Shloach Manos and Matanas Avyonim and the Sudas Purim, which also should have a Shechianu. He's mistapik in the Bialacha if someone should taka if someone didn't hear Shechianu Megillah, should he make a Shechianu before he gives Shalach Manos, before he does these things? We're not knowing to do that, but upon him, a person should have in mind before he does the mitzvah that when he hears a Shechianu that he's going to do. There were those that were makbid, like right after the davening, to give him a Shalach Manos, to give money to Aniyim, so the Shechianu should be chal on it, should go on it. A bracha mitzvah shouldn't wait till later in the day to do it, so you it right away. But upon him, they should have in mind that the mitzvah is going on it. The Shechianu is going on it. It's the question is on Matanas Avyonim. So there's some that say no, we don't make a Shechianu on Matanas Avyonim. We don't announce that the Shechianu should go on Matanas Avyonim because let's say you meet Ani before Kriyas Megillah, so you're not going to give him because you have to wait for the Shechianu. So and then if anything, some say it's Chachila to give to the Aniyim before and early in the day that they could go buy food for the main one of the purposes of the Matanas Avyonim is to have food for the Suda. So you want to give it to them early. So there's others say it's better to give Matanas Avyonim first thing in the morning and not wait for the Shechianu. And the others who are makbid to give Matanas Avyonim after the meal. You can do both. There's no share, the amount of Matanas Avyonim, Mikra Adin is a puta. You give a puta a yoytza. There are those that say you have to give the amount for a Suda, to eat a Suda. Maybe that's $8, $10. I don't know how much it costs to $5. I don't know how much it costs to buy a small Suda, small meal, sandwich. Buy a sandwich.
You can't be yoytza to give a check. Especially Sunday, you can't cash it.
Shalvik check if you can cash it. If you cash it right away, cash it on that day. But I would like to give a cash check.
You can cash it. You don't have to go to a bank to cash it.
Yeah. That's a whole Shiloh what the status of checks are today, because
make sure it's money in the account.
Yeah.
Izzy will cash your check.
But if you give the Gabbai a check and the Gabbai gives cash, so he's a shliach to give cash. That's enough. You give the Gabbai a check and he gives cash. So if the Gabbai gives a check, and so Shiloh gives some cash along with the check to be yaitz just in case. But lechatchila to give a share suda, but each ani that comes by and you give him a few cents. It could be even yaitza mitzvah matanas avyonim. The halacha is called a poshet yad. Normally you have to check in. You have to have a paper that has the thing who he is. We check in who the guy is. If he's a valid ani, he's not a valid ani. On Purim, the halacha is called a poshet yad. We don't question his status if he needs, if he doesn't need. We give even if maybe he doesn't need, we don't ask any questions. That's part of the Simchas Purim, part of the Mitzvah Hayayim, and we're the same way. That's why our tefillas are answered on Purim. So Yom Tefillah, because Baruch Hashem doesn't look if we need, if we don't need, if we're valid, if we're not valid. Just like we give to the ani, even though he may not be valid, the Baruch Hashem gives to us. Kol HaPoshet Yad. People are looking for all kinds of schools. People are running around all kinds of schools. Whether it's tefillah, whether you go to Mukubah, every school out there is it's the craze of the day, as they say. But when it comes to the schools that I've tried and brought down in halacha, this is a person should daven and kol poshet yad. If a person davens also with tefillas and he has kavanah, that could have great things could happen. It's late, we don't have time to get into Mishleich Manas. To utilize our Purim properly. It comes only once a year, so and by the time you're halfway through, it could be you drank of it too much already. So I'll go upon to utilize it properly, to proper simchas, simcha for the mitzvah, simchas hayom, and to do the mitzvahs properly and to do mispal for things everybody has strachim that we need. Shataka poili shus.
I will have something after.